Hi, welcome to Sewing with Sandy. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to make ribbon hair streamers. My granddaughter just turned 4 and she's all about the hair bows. And so today I thought we'd try a streamer. You see them a lot with cheerleaders and soccer teams, and they're on a little pony round and they're long streaming ribbons coming down the side. So they're really cute, super easy to make, and the kids love them. So let's get started. You need a selection of ribbon. 5/8 of an inch and narrower. I mean, you can do an inch, but they do tend to get a little heavy, and you want a ribbon that has some movement to it. Some of them are a little too stiff, but you want something that's soft and has a little bit of movement to them. Satin ribbons work really well. I like a variety of sizes, all the way down to 1/8 of an inch, 5/8 to 1/8, or 1 inch to 1/8, and I think that those make the best ribbons. Lots of little small ribbons that are soft, like the satin or the eyelet ones, give it movement. And then also you are going to need a little hair ring, and all of the information on where to find these will be in the blog post, and the link to the blog post will be below the video. So you also need a lighter, which is important to clean off the ends of your ribbon and it keeps them from fraying. A pair of scissors, of course, and then a glue gun. And that's pretty much it. A ruler for measuring, and we're good to go. So let's get started. As you can see, I have selected a variety of ribbon. We're working with whites and pinks. There are different sizes. This is 1/8 of an inch, this cute little shiny one. And then I have this one, which is 1 inch. Yes, that's 1 inch wide. So we're going to cut these into lengths, and you can start at something around 10.5 inches, and probably go all the way, I mean, depending on how long and how much hair your little girl has, 15 inches. Just remember that they're going to be folded in half. So if you make a 10-inch cut, your ribbon's going to be a scant 5 inches hanging from either side of the ponytail. So I'm going to go through and cut my ribbons. I think I'm going to do 12 inches. That gives me a little bit, almost like a 6-inch hang on either side. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a whole bunch of ribbons at 12 inches. All right, I've cut up my pile of ribbon. I have an assortment of amounts, and they're all around 12 inches. One of the things you want to do is give the cut an interesting cut to the end. These I cut all on the angle, but you can cut some with a V or cut them square. You know, the lace one I cut square. So what you want to do is you want to seal the ends of these ribbons, and for the grosgrain ribbons, you can just seal them with a lighter. So you just run the ends of the ribbon, both ends, back and forth across the lighter, and what that does is it seals the edges. Now this one gives a little bit of a burnt issue, but I think that will be fine. It's just going to seal the edges. If you have something like this lace that will melt when you hit it with the flame, what you want to do is use nail polish. Just use a little clear nail polish on the edge of that. But I'm going to seal up the rest of these really quickly and just run all my ribbons through the process. It's easier to do this now than it is to do it when they're all done, when the bow is all put together, because then you have all these edges all over the place. It's much easier to do it now. Plus, if your ribbon doesn't like the flame, you'll know now, as opposed to when it's all finished, and then that becomes a problem because now you have a piece of ribbon in there that's got a melted end. We don't want that. Whoop, see, that one melted, so that's not going to be any good. So I'm going to have to use a glue on that one. I just want to check these. This edge is a little over melted. I'm just going to go back and do that one really quickly again. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to nail polish these. All right, I'm going to line up my ribbons, and what I want to do is I want to kind of cross them just a smidge, but we're going to do it in the center. So we'll find the center of this ribbon. It's easy enough to do. You fold it in half, right? Put a little crease in there, and that gives me a little bit of a gauge. So I'm going to try to center them, and I'm going to build upon that. And you can see that my pieces are not 100% the same length, which is fine. And I'm just gonna keep, I don't wanna spread it out too much because we want them to kind of overlap, but I am gonna spread it out a little. And I'm just gonna keep playing with different ribbons. You know, once they start hanging, who knows where they are, but you can see that you wanna try to make them go in different angles. If you have the same ribbon, you wanna try to repeat them in different places within the process. Now I had cut this lace, but now that I'm laying it down on here, and it's just hem lace, I don't like it, so I'm gonna leave it out. It's a great way to use up ribbon that you have floating around in your stash, that or little odds and ends. If you're making bows, odds and ends of ribbons that go together. Okay, I'm gonna put this last one on. So now I have my little stack of ribbons, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to run it through my sewing machine to hold it together. Now, you can hot glue it. I think it gets a little bulky, but I prefer to just stitch back and forth right across the center. So I'm just going to pick it up really carefully, and I'm going to take it to my machine. But you can already see, look at how cute that is. All right, so now you can see I have my little bunch of ribbon. It's all stuck together, stitched right along the center there, so that keeps it as one unit. It's much easier to work with, and you can always see how cute that's going to be in a ponytail. And then I have my ponytail holder, and I have a needle, a sewing needle with a double strand of thread. Now these are pretty small. All right, so I am going to fold these in half this way so I can secure them to my ribbon underneath. I'm going to start by putting a stitch into the center back of my ribbon. Make sure that's secured. You can see how much easier it is doing these on the machine, where you don't have to futz with all the different ribbons. And then I'm going to put a stitch right through my elastic. And these are good quality hair pulls. So now my elastic is actually attached to the back of my ribbon, and I want to essentially wrap my ribbon around my elastic so it's going to stay there. So I'm going to sew that in place. Lots of little ribbons. Just going to take another stitch here to make sure that my ribbon is secured, my ponytail holder is secured in place, and then I'm going to fold these ribbons in half and stitch them around my ribbon. Any which way, it doesn't really matter, because we're going to go ahead and glue this afterwards. But you kind of want to secure it around there so it's nice and snug. I find that the younger girls, the little ones, and then the ones doing sports also, they are bouncing around so much that if the pieces aren't, caught a ribbon there, if the pieces aren't threaded and just hot glued instead, they tend to not hold as well. And I think that, you know, it's a shame. You don't put a ton of time into it, but you are putting some time into it, and you want your ribbon to last, right? Let's pull that through. Okay, so it's secure enough because I'm going to glue a little top knot band on it. Just going to knot this off. Like you would finish off any of your sewing. This is the hardest part because all the ribbons keep getting in the way. So now it's attached, right? We're in good shape. It's attached to my ribbon. Now we're just going to finish this off so it looks pretty. You're going to pick one of the ribbons that you like. I am going to go with this black and white ribbon because I think it's really cute. I'm just going to lock off a piece and I'm going to tie a knot in it. Just a little underhand knot, and I'm going to futz with it a little bit so it looks like this. Just have a little knot, and then you need to twist your ribbon around so you make sure that it's all facing upward. It doesn't have to be too tight. And we want this knot to be right here on the very top. So I'm going to put a tiny dab of glue right on the top of my hair bow and secure that knot there. So I'm going to let that harden for a second. And then I'm going to take these ends and trim them off. Glue this one around the back. So put some glue on the ribbon and move that one around to the back gently. All right. Then I'm going to see how long I want this rim to be. I want this one to finish right about there, so I'm going to trim that off. Yeah, you waste a little ribbon this way because I cut it longer, but I also don't have to go back and do it a second time because I know that it's going to fit the way I want it to do. So I'm just going to wrap that back around. So what that does is it hides, how hot glue hides all of my stitching and finishes off the little bow. How cute is that, right? A little fluffing and folding, and you have an adorable, fun little bow for your favorite little girl. It's that simple, and they will love these. All right, until next time, we're going to explore more in the world of bows.